Hey guys, I'm just gonna introduce an older video, a video that I made I think a couple of months ago, but I failed to load it up. I think I forgot about it. So basically, just gonna explain a little bit first because it's not in the video. As you can see, we're a few months ahead. Yeah, a lot has been done. So what I want to say is just a little bit of information on the floating caliper, and then also a tip I didn't share that's normally for the end of the bleeding process, which implies a tie wrap. So in this case, what is important to know is you have a rigid or a fixed disc. It's just turning, it can't move. So there's no play or alignment possible, as is with the front ones. You have floating discs, as I explained in that video. You should check it out to learn more about it. So this is a fixed disc and a floating caliper, which basically means that it's only fixed here with a mount and that the caliper will move. Yeah, at first the pistons will get pushed, yeah, by the pressure you make on the lever. That will make two pistons move against your brake pads. Your brake pads will move against the disc, and the moment that it's on its maximum, the caliper will shift, okay, like this. So you get a brake from both. That means that you only have two pistons on this side. You don't have pistons on the other side. In a rigid caliper like that one, and in the front you have pistons, opposing pistons. So it's just some quick introduction. Once in the video I didn't explain this really, that's why I'm saying now, but you will see in the video later that the dismantling, okay? But it's just for you to know these basics. You can see it's equipped with ABS, which is also an additional feature. It's also easier to apply on this type of caliper and this type of brake system. And then secondly, so I'll show in the video in the end, you will do the bleeding, yeah? The bleeding of the brakes. So very important is that you release this one, yeah. Once you're done, you're gonna push the brake, and then you have to tie it up and leave it overnight. So just gonna show you. I just use part of the frame. There you go. It's not easy, but it's possible. Voila. And just take a tie wrap. Voila. You make sure that the brake is applied, and that makes that all excess air that's still in the hoses after bleeding will get the possibility to pass through here, through the valve. It doesn't get stuck in this section, but can go out and it can find its way out. You just leave this cap half open. Okay, that's it. You keep this overnight, then you can release it, and you basically you should be home free. Okay, if you still feel afterwards you're riding and you feel your brake is not solid, then you need to redo the process. Okay, but for now that's all it. I would say enjoy the video, keep this in mind, and know what systems you're dealing with. And okay guys, so now the rear brake. So this is I feel it's really dragging, so I have to see how far do I have to go, but I'm gonna remove the caliper and I'll go from there. So you don't need a lot of wrenches for it or tools. It's just the ABS. If it comes equipped with an ABS, then you have to remove the ABS sensor, and then you have to remove, of course, the brake line and a few bolts for the caliper. So this comes with an 8mm for the sensor. Voila. It's also here with an extra clip on the line. Just release it and put it away. Now place the bolts back so I don't lose them. And this is actually a spacer. Sometimes you have to play with this if you had a bad reading on the dash for the ABS. Usually it's because of wear and tear that you have to apply spacers in here. So just a quick side note, don't release them and don't lose them, okay? First thing is just take the bead of the brake line. Wow. And then it's a 14mm. Wow. Voila. So now I'm just gonna release the banjo bolt. And I'm just gonna let the fluid, excuse me, just gonna let the fluid out, most of it. Voila. Now of course it's gonna leak. But sometimes I think sometimes if you pull up the brake line it'll stop leaking. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I don't really have something to stop it, but since I have to bleed the brakes, I'm not gonna worry about it. Just gonna tie them up a bit. Voila. have two bolts in there. Two bolts to the pads. And release them. Well, turn around, you push it outside, you come out. If they're really good, really stuck, you should change them, at least. They're pretty stuck on the slide a little bit. We go to 40. Turn it. Wow. Voila. So you can see it has been affected by road salt. And then normally you can remove the thing. You have the two float pins. There's one here is fixed, and this will be fixed on the chassis. Yeah. So normally you have to be able to pull it out. It's really stuck as well. Voila. You can see you have rust. As I'm not so happy with this. But let's see how far that I can clean it. See, it looks pretty dry. There's one more thing. This is a pin that actually assists a spring that assists the brake pads. And then you only have your two pistons. So we're gonna guide them out with some compressed air. So now the one is out. I will use the brake pad to stop this one, and I hope this one will come out now. Should go better now. Yes. So, success. The bolt moved, and now I should be able, with some hand force, to remove them. Just gonna soak it in some brake fluid and let it do its job for a few minutes. There is really some sticky dirt on there. I just hope it didn't damage the caliper, I mean the pistons. So the reason I use this two parts is because it's just on the surface as well. So a little bit more work to do it back, but please don't ruin your options. They're very pricey, they're not cheap. So take care of them. Just open out, just leave it on the surface. Just use the screwdriver and really don't go deep, just on the surface, but help to get the initial sticking paste get off of it. I can remember, I think the last time I used the bike it was in an emergency. My wife was teaching and she didn't have a key, so I had to drive or ride over there and bring her a key from the place. And I think it was in November. And I can't remember if it's freezing there or they used road salt at that time, but apparently I didn't clean up the bike well enough, and yeah, it's done its job now. Okay. So now I'm gonna clean up this part. Also here you have to try and resettle, blue line with anything that's really taking off surface, paint or if you use like a brine paper, there's no damage. So the foiling pins, these ones, you can use this is okay, but that's it. So the brake pads, you should measure them, they have a minimum requirement, it's 1.5 millimeters. So as long as they're below it, it's also capitalized, so your brake pads are below their required minimum, that means you will have more heat dissipation on the same heat dissipation on small surface, so that can also lead to brake failure. So you can see that the pistons have been eating its way in there. So this was actually over time sitting with all the dirt, and it's just been eating its way, and that's why we have these damages. This is fairly okay. I'm just gonna, it's just dirt, that I just have to clean up. Because I don't feel it with my nail, then it should be okay. I only use brake fluid because this one is grease, and you don't want this on your pads. So be careful. The moment you touch your pads with greasy stuff, you should throw them away. Like the same fraction, to shake, touched. That's 2.6. Now this, you should be able to clean up. So you can see there is already some damage in there, but I'm still gonna use them. But I'm gonna write this down, and then the next time I will change the brake pads, Then I will also change these 2 pins. Just over time they just start to wear out, and it's just can help you. Good pins will help to make your brake work smoother. So it's really worth it. You can also buy them in titanium and stuff like that. I think I'll do that. They're just better quality than these steel pins or aluminium. I think it's aluminium, but it starts to corrode. So yeah, just some thoughts, you know. All right, now the big one. So I'm gonna take this one easy. It's just cleaning up on the surface. I'm not gonna be violent, especially not with the brush, because I have rubber seals. So what I don't want to see now is pieces of metal broken off, or really that I need to have a smooth surface. You know, that's really when especially near the pistons, the piston housing. If you have like splintered metal or small, even millimeters of metal been eaten away, that's a new caliper, definitely. Because if you have a rough surface, that means that you won't be able to shut it off, and dirt and other things will come in, and it's just the beginning of the end. You will have way more trouble. And the rear brake is not your main brake, but it is a brake that you use in cornering and wheeling and all that shit, so you really need a good brake. It's 20% of your emergency brake as well. It helps you to set the bike. The bike will dive, but if you use the rear brake, it will set. So yeah, make sure that it's really in decent quality. So you can see these edges, they need to be smooth. Here and here, all these things need to be smooth. Here it's okay if you have a little bit of damage, then it's okay. But especially this one is very important, and I'm lucky. I'm just gonna take a seal out. It is perfect. It is good. I also check here on the rubbers if they're still intact. Yeah. They should not, especially when the roller, they could show signs of brittleness, and then it will start tearing apart, and then of course you're gone. So, but I'm very happy. The caliper looks really good. It's just the pistons really on the surface that need replacement. A quick update. So I just went upstairs and I collected another caliper I have, which is was been stored for a few years, and I disassembled it and I found some parts that I can use, especially so the pistons, which are in a way better condition. They're not perfect, but they will do. So that's one of them. There's a little bit of scratching, but for now they will be okay. And then this one is perfect. Yeah. I can also use spring. This one is fairly been corroded, and this one is in a better condition. So luckily I was able to find a solution. So we're gonna continue. So the first thing is clean it up really good now. Voilà. So like I explained in the last video, this seal is very important, the upper seal, because that's the one who helps the piston move back. When you brake, the piston will push the pad will then do its job, and then of course the piston has to move back a little bit. It's this seal doing this, or assisting, together with the floating system. So it's very important they are in a good condition. If your brakes stick, it could be the problem. Could also be a bad piston, a bad setting, maybe some bad fluids, but just so you know, it is important. So to apply this pin, there's only one way you can do it. This is, you can see it's not really straight, it's the same here. Becomes a little bit smaller, and there you have to push it. There you go. So now I'm going to apply the pistons. You just move a little bit back and forth, not too much, and the moment they're going to seat, you know when you press them in. That's one. Here we go. Something's off here. Voila. This one here, these pins, these floating pins or slide pins, I always use a little bit of grease on them. It's just, it helps them. They're seated in these rubber places, so normally there would be no, it's not dirt is not able to get in there, but just to give it that little bit more of punch, there is actually a special loop for it, which I recommend. I didn't see it in the manual, but it's just from experience that I use it. Not a lot, just a little bit. Don't use any grease for it, just use special grease for it that's been fabricated for the job. And as always, if you use something to slide, if you use too much, it will also collect a lot of dirt. So just in case, don't use too much. Voila. Here we go. You have to take in consideration that the seal has to seal itself. You can see now it does. Okay, and make sure it's moving easily back and forth. Yeah. And then you install the brake pads. So some of them have 2 pins where you can mount them, but this only has 1. So here as well, since I had all these troubles, before I forget, I'm gonna use some copper grease on them. It's an old trick they used to do. So the pistons do not start to merge with the copper here, which basically I had a little bit of issue with. So there is one. That fits straight in there. And that is mounted in the bracket. The moment you have it, you take your pins and you should be able to guide them right in there. Voila. Everything should go smooth. When working with brakes, all these things should not have friction. Yeah, it should be easy forward, should be easy going forward. It's important. If you have to start forcing it, that will mean there's something off. So this one, that seats right here. You have to push them a little bit and voila, find a way, and then they sit. These are 18, torqued at 18 Newton, 18 kilograms. I was able to clean up the caliper, as you can see. I did not expect it to be so much trouble, but actually when you saw me in the beginning moving the wheel, I was really dragging. So you can see that's the first thing you should test if you have like the idea something's off with the brakes when it's really not, the wheel should move easily. So I'm happy with changing the pistons and the spring. That will be okay now. So what I will do, first I will install it on the bike. Since the brake line is already there, I will install it later. Otherwise it will intervene with the appliement. Voilà. And then it's the banu bolt. It will, the hose will just set itself in place. Do not force it. Voilà. So the torque for this one is 25 for the banu bolts. I'm just gonna pull a little bit back on the hose, so it's not the metal of the hose is not touching the caliper in here. Yeah, only on the bungee bolt here, on the where the bungee bolt is fitted, but not where the metal is touching. Okay, the setting for the mounting bolts is 40 Newton meters. Now I'm going to reinstall the ABS sensor. It's just basically an inductive sensor which recognizes metal. Since you have a special disc here, I'll show a picture. Then yeah, it will know how fast you go, yeah, and how to apply the ABS because of the metal thing passing, counting. I don't torque these, it's just feeling, don't over tight. Here we go. So basically now we're gonna bleed the system. I have motor brake fluid, and it says the typical dry boiling point is 254 degrees Celsius, and the wet boiling point is 160. So it should be good enough for street use, even for small track use. The tools needed for the bleeding of the rear brake is a bleeding tube, or it's just a hose that's been suited for the bleeding, and an 8mm metric wrench that you apply on the nipple. This one goes on top. And now the system, important you keep the hose low, so it's fairly, you use gravity in your advantage. You should always use a turkey baster, and you try and get the fluid, the dirty fluid, out of there first. So you push, and then you open. Voila, you get the out of there, and you fill up with new one. It's been topped off. Now I'm going to start braking until I feel like I see the fluid sinking. The moment you feel like pressure building up, that's a good sign, and you keep the pressure in. That moment the brake is applied, you open it. Try and open it. Yeah, here we go, and you close it again. You're gonna feel the brake sinking, and you cannot not release the brake until the valve is closed again. Alright, I'm gonna try again. You're gonna see normally the fluid sinking. Build up pressure, open it, close it. Now I see the first air going out, but I'm gonna top the reservoir again, because you do not want it go below minimum and then you're gonna draw in air again. So try and prevent this. Now start to feel brake. Open it. Brake is gonna push. Close it. Release the brake. Check the fluid level. Pump. Close it. Release the brake. So I still see air bubbles. I'm gonna push again. Open it a bit. Push and close it. Do it again. Voila. So now you have to re-establish the cap. There's one. And then that seal. Okay. What does this is a special one. Yeah. Could be that you get it like this because the fluid was drained. This makes sure that you have a vacuum. Yeah, the moment your fluids, it will start sinking in. This will follow it, will stick to it and follow it, so you get a vacuum. So if this is broken, you have to change it. It's an important part of the system that has to be intact. Just give it a last check. Yes. Now we take some brake cleaner and just give it a good clean. Normally the wheel should spin way better than before. The metal on metal is just the guard that's loose on the other side. So I'm very happy with this. Okay, so that's it. The disassembly of the caliper, which had issues, has now been fixed. Normally I will take notes on this, and the next time that I will take new brake pads, then I will renew the pins. Yeah, the pad pins, the 2 pad pins. The oil is okay, or the fluid is okay. So yeah, has been a good day.